Welcome into episode 40 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. Big episode coming up today as we will combine a little bit of Rangers talk, nothing much. We'll start with that in a little bit, but nice and quick for that. Knicks talk. A lot going on with the Knicks right now, and I know last episode I talked about them. I said they had to step up, and they made me eat my words, but I'm all for it. I mean, I'm glad they're winning. Why would I complain about that? A lot of Knicks talk coming up, and then Mets. Of course, they're still in first place. They're playing good ball, but I think that they've hit a little skid. But we'll see what happens with them. I think having an off day and being home is huge for them, just in the sense of resetting the pitching staff a little bit. And I think every Thursday now for the rest of the month, they have off, so that's pretty good. So you're never really playing more than 6 games in a row. That's pretty much what it'll be. So 6 games and a day off, which is something that I think will help this team a lot out. Like I said, with the starting rotation, when they're trying to get a six-man rotation in there, may not have to always use a six starter because of the days off that are going to come along, especially with the schedule they got coming up. But before that, I just want to hint that a big announcement will be coming out within the next couple of weeks. Some things are getting worked out. Meetings are happening behind the scenes in terms of the show. It's going to expand. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens, and I'm all for it. I'm very happy for the opportunity to work with someone that is going to match my energy. Honestly, he really is. He's going to be a good fellow host, and I think it'll be very fun to expand and still keep obviously the normal episodes when we do all that stuff, but having more to the show, more beef, I would say, to say the least. It'll be fun, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but in the coming weeks, I would give it another probably 2 weeks. An announcement will go out, and then we'll go from there, and everyone will find out what happens. But let's get today's episode on the road here. We'll start with the Rangers just because it's a little piece of information, but very important. They've hired Mike Sullivan as their next head coach. Yes, that Mike Sullivan, the guy that coached the Pittsburgh Penguins for a pretty long time. He also coached Team USA. That's probably most notable for the recent years because they weren't too good in Pittsburgh this year and these past few years. But he coached Team USA in the Four Nations tournament. Who was the general manager of that team was Chris Drury, so they have a little connection going there, and I think that was what got him to come here. Especially in Pittsburgh, you can tell the writing was on the wall over there. Just a sense of they were getting older. They didn't really have many talented players, and I think here with the Rangers, they don't have much talent. Honestly, they don't have that much anymore, but they have more than I think people think. And Sullivan said that he believes in certain guys he named that he loves, and he's coached a few of them already. He thinks that he can get the potential out of some others. So I don't think the roster is that far off. And honestly, with him as your head coach, I think that increases your chances of winning games regardless. He knows what he's doing. He has a planned structure. He has a goalie like he talked about, and Igor Shesterkin, who should be a lot better than what his numbers were this year. And I think that was just a product of the team just falling apart in front of him. And now Sullivan knows I got a goalie like that. Now we have to build around him because he's going to be here. Both of the Sullivan and Shesterkin will be here for a long time. Drury got an extension as well, so this is really the coach that he's counting on. Because if this doesn't work out, Drury will be out of a job as well. I think that's why he got the extension. They're like, okay, you got the big fish in the market now. They're your third coach. Go out there and do something. I think this is trying to something that Drury wanted all along. I know we tried last time; it didn't work. Sullivan was supposed to be fired last year. That didn't happen. A lot of different things went to course, but I think that the Rangers kind of stick by the same game plan. They want to use an experienced head coach, which is nothing wrong with that because the guy has a track record. But we've seen with the past two coaches, they had a great first year and then didn't do too well in the second year. But I think Sullivan has just a more well-rounded plan. I know it sounds like the fan trying to be positive right now, but I think that he gets his own type of players in there. Maybe we swing a trade with Pittsburgh for some talented player. I'm not saying Crosby because that will never happen, but some of the other guys they got on that team, maybe they can help out this beef up this team a little bit. I don't think this is a 1 year fix at all, but I don't think it's a complete rebuild where they're going to stink. I really don't think so. I think they're going to be competitive next year, and I think the year after that could be the year they really start taking that jump as to being a good team because they have the pieces and now they have the coach, and it's very good to see. Staying with the other team, MSG, man, the Knicks Great job. I gotta say they've stepped up. I said after the series against Detroit, yes, it was a good story. They won in 6 games. Really should have beaten them a lot quicker, but they didn't, and they won. And then that was what it is. I called them out. I said, guys want to have a chance, even a chance. I didn't think it would come to this, but have a chance against Boston. You have to play harder, and they've done that. Down by 20 points in both games, and you make a comeback. That's saying something. I mean, 2-0 series lead, and you haven't even played a home game yet. I know they haven't played too great at home yet this postseason. Hopefully that changes, but that's outstanding. Two 20-point comebacks on the road. That doesn't happen very often, and I think that they said, all right, but listen, we got beat up in the regular season by Detroit too, and we took advantage of them and we beat them in the playoffs. Boston spanked us, which I think you could take that with a grain of salt. I know I've been saying this to a few different people. Opening night, that's tough to gauge because that Boston team won a championship. They're playing in front of their home crowd. First game back. Also, the Knicks had a new group of players together. That's very tough to respond. So that one I give them a pass on. Second game, I know they still didn't have Mitchell Robinson. They were banged up. All right, you lost that one. Third game, OG Anunoby hurt. So they still didn't have a full team at all because even that first game, they didn't have Mitch. So that's 3 games. They played a Celtics team that they didn't have their full team. They lost all three. Last game against the Celtics at the end of the regular season was right before the playoffs. I think it was maybe a game or two left of the regular season after that. The Knicks kept it close. They got to overtime. They had the lead at some point. They should have won that game. They just some things happened that shouldn't have, and that was the case. So if you would look at how it started to how it finished against the Celtics, I think Jeff fans, Knicks fans should have been more positive, and everyone is right now ecstatic. I mean, this is great. The city is fired up. I know a lot of good things are happening in New York sports, so that helps. But this Knicks team is everyone's behind them. I don't think there's any reason why if you live here you don't like them. I think they're a very likable team. Brunson's the type of guy. He's the face of this franchise, and he's very well liked. I know people say he flops and all that, but that's just because they're jealous of how good he is. Cat is a very likable guy. Josh Hart plays hard all the time. I've been saying that for the past few years. I mean, since they got him, he just turned the switch on. He was a good NBA player. Now I think he is better than I don't even know honestly. He's really good. Just doing his thing. OG Anunoby, another very well liked guy. I know Mikal Bridges got a lot of heat at him the entire season. He was in New York already, and I think that was a good thing for him. That he heard the critics, he heard those people going after him, and he's like, all right. I mean, I played for Brooklyn. It's a different situation. Obviously, the pressure isn't as high, but I've had success in New York City before. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. I'm going to show everybody. And I think that that's what it is. Everyone loves the bench. The certain guys that come in off the bench, very well liked. So this is a very likable team, and they deserve it, man. They took a 51 win team before the playoffs, took a lot of heat. That's what I was saying. And not only Bridges, excuse me, a 51 win team took a ton of heat, and they ran with it. Right now, 6-2 in the postseason, 5-0 on the road. 5-0 on the road is one thing. Going in Detroit, I feel like I don't know what it is. I feel like Detroit was louder than Boston for some reason, which is crazy. But still, Boston is its own animal. It's a city that definitely doesn't like New York. I know that for a fact, and we don't like them back. So it's a nice rivalry to have. The that arena's packed every night. It's a defending champion, so it's not like a fluke team that's in the playoffs. They are supposed to win this series, and that was another thing though. I was one of them. I could take blame for this. I kind of felt like usually a 2-3 matchup in the playoffs, usually that it should be the closer of the any of the matchups that are going on in the second round, and I felt like that wasn't the case in terms of this series, and it was because of what the Celtics did in the regular season. They won 61 games. They won the championship last year. They're just a well-rounded team. They didn't lose anybody pretty much for the most part. They could play literally 10 guys, and there's really not that much of a drop off. And that's why. But the Knicks have responded. I know they've been outplayed pretty much the entire series, but it doesn't matter because you're winning games. And this reminds me, I know it's a different sport, of when the Rangers played Pittsburgh, the Penguins, a few years back when they were down 3-1. That's a different thing as well, obviously. But they were down 3-1 in the series. They were outplayed pretty much every game, and they still found a way to win that in 7 games. I think that's what that reminds me of, is that the Knicks are getting outplayed, but they're clutching up at the right time. I know they were on like a 21-2 run over 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. The Celtics just cold. And they're one of the best offensive teams in the entire league, and we've seen it over the past 3, 4 years. But even before the championship, they're one of the best offensive teams in the league. I mean, when you got Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis when he's right, and that's not an excuse either. I don't want to hear, oh, Porzingis is out. You're still more talented than this Knicks team. They're just playing hard, and the grittiness that the Knicks team has shown these last 2 games is kind of what they had last year, and I think it's finally starting to come out. But going back to the Celtics is what I was trying to say. Even Peyton Pritchard off the bench, best option. That he would be the best option on the Knicks bench. Do they have a plenty? Al Horford could still make shots. Luke Cornett is a good player. Sam Hauser, before he got injured, he's a quality guy off the bench. And I think that these are the things that people are trying to make excuses. Porzingis is sick or whatever the case may be. Your team is still great. That's a great team even without Porzingis. We saw what they did the last 2 years before the championship without Porzingis. So I think that people need to understand that. So this isn't any taking away anything from the Knicks. I'm all for it right now. This is great. This is making me happy. I know every night the Knicks are on, I'm making sure I have nothing else to do so I can lock in and watch that game. Saturday afternoon at 3:30, the Garden's gonna be rocking. I'll have the TV going here. This is gonna be fun, and I think that they have to win one at home. So that's definitely part of the recipe. Obviously, it's easier said than done. You have to win one at home, but that sets them up perfectly for the rest of the series. And obviously, if they were sweep, that would be absolutely nuts. But I really don't see that happening. I see the Celtics getting off the mat for at least one game, but the Knicks have to respond. If they lose game three, they definitely have to respond game four. But the ideal situation to me, win game three, put all the pressure on them. I'm sure they'll win one game facing elimination because they're talented. They know what they're doing. They've been through. So it's not like anything new for them. And I remember more recently, they came back against the Heat. They didn't win the series, but they tied at 3-3 and lost in Game 7 to the Heat. So they've been there and they've done it. That's why you can't let a championship caliber team hang around. You got to bury them. And listen, if they come away with a split at home, they're up 3-1, Game 5 in Boston. They lose that, then you have to close it out at home. If you win, you can win Game 5, obviously, but then you have the security blanket of having Game 6 at home to win in front of your fans and all that good stuff. So if you split, it sets you up for a terrific rest of the series, and then you move on, and that's the case. They would play probably the Pacers at this point. Looks like the Pacers are going to beat the Cavs. Cavs are very banged up. They had three starters out. Mitchell was banged up during the game, and he wasn't even one of the guys injured before, so that was a lot going on for them. But with that being said, we'll keep it here with the Knicks just to talk about a little more of like kind of the personnel, what they're doing, and also give credit. I want to start out giving credit to Coach Tibbs. I know he's been a guy. I said it that if he doesn't win this series and if they get blown out, he's kind of got it. They got to consider it. I wouldn't fire him just because he's made the playoffs 4 to 5 years. It seems like the team's going up, but he should have taken heat of the situation. But he's doing great. He's outcoached Missoula definitely in both games. And something that the Knicks fans have hoped and wanted the entire season was that defensive intensity to ratchet up, and they've brought it, man. These 2 games against Boston, it wasn't really there against Detroit, but these 2 games against Boston, especially OG and McCall, just of how great defense they played on Brown and Tatum, but just as a whole overall unit, they are bringing it, man. The intensity is there, and that's Tibbs' DNA. He's a big believer in defense, and obviously this Knicks team can play offense with anybody just because of who they have. But that's what I'm saying. This defense is now here playing like this. This is why they're winning. That was definitely the catalyst as to why they came back. And I know everyone's saying, "Oh, the Celtics missed all those 3 pointers," but they missed those 3 pointers because of what the Knicks defense was doing. Obviously, you're gonna miss your share of open shots. It happens. But there was a lot of those 3 pointers that were contested. Guys were in their face, and they were forced to shoot threes, and they weren't able to drive. So that's part of that whole thing. There is that yes, they missed all those threes, but the Knicks defense has been great. Tibbs gets credit, and obviously the rest of the boys, they all get their credit as well because they're playing great, especially on the defensive end, like I just said, outstanding. And then scary thing, and this is something that obviously Brunson had a really good game one. He did his part in game two, but I don't think he's had that takeover moment yet where he usually gets one of those, maybe two a series. He hasn't had that yet. So they're 2-0, they're up 2-0 in the series, and he hasn't had his takeover game yet, which I'm sure is going to come at home, uh, one of those games at home, and he'll win that by himself. We saw that against Detroit to clinch the series. He won that game by himself pretty much. He had that takeover game, and the scary thing is that he hasn't had that yet. So that's coming. That I think gives the Knicks 3 wins. They just got to scrap and claw to find their way to get another one somehow. Credit to Mikal Bridges. I know I mentioned his name like 3, 4 times already. Man, 14 points in the fourth quarter, and I think as Knicks fans last night we're sitting there and we're like, "Oh, give it to Bridges, give it to Bridges." I don't think we've said that all season because of the inconsistency out of him. That fourth quarter, he was on fire, and of course, the last two plays of both game one and the last play of game one, last play of game two, he took over once again and just played outstanding defense and won the game himself there, knocking the ball away from, grabbing the ball out of Jaylen Brown's hands and then knocking the ball out of Jason Tatum's hand. So Bridges, man, I know it was a lot, 5 first-round picks and all that stuff, but if he's gonna win in the help us win in the postseason, no one cares what you did before that. It's like with the Mets with Pete Alonso last year. Did not have a great regular season. Something clicked in the playoffs. He played great in the playoffs. They re-signed him, and now look what he's doing. So that could be the case with Mikal Bridges. He does great in the postseason and still has more to come uh, after that. And I think that's why Knicks fans they don't hate Mikal, but there's definitely a little bit of like, oh man, he wasn't good at all. But he's starting to turn it on, and that's great to see. So we got to be realistic here and say, all right, you win 2 more games. You're in the Eastern Conference Final for the first time in 25 years. Obviously, before I was born, because I'm only 21. So 4 years before I was even born, I should say. So a perfect chance at that. The last 2 years, they had a great chance at making it. So this is something that we talked about against Miami. Excuse me, against Miami. Had a legit shot. Unfortunately, couldn't win, but the Heat got to the finals. Then last year against Indiana, up in that series. It started out differently, but they were up in that series, and then injuries just really piled up. They had nobody, and they lost that. So the last 2 years, oh no, I don't want the I don't want the Bluetooth to go out there. My apologies, but it is back. Yeah, those are the things they need to keep in mind, and they got to finish the job here. You get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's great. I talked about this. Tibbs' first year, postseason. Second year, they were not good. Third year, obviously, second round loss against the Heat. Last year, second round loss against Indiana, and that kind of felt. Last year was definitely the tide turning, where OG came over, so that was the first big move. And then this summer, this past summer, like okay, so we made the second round 2 years in a row. We need to do something. Cat and Mikal come over, and now Leon Rose looks like pretty smart. Obviously, I keep saying the job is not finished. It's not, but he looks a lot smarter because it seems like they're in more of a driver's seat than they were the last 2 years. And now, if they get even if they just win this round and get to the Eastern Conference Final, and I think they can get to the whole NBA Finals as a whole. But even if they get to that, that's one step up. So it seems like they're improving every year, and that's a good thing. And there's a lot that comes with that. A lot of hard work. Brunson has developed, man. He even since he came to the Knicks, he's gotten a lot better. And you just got to keep the foot on the gas pedal here. And I'm very happy with the Knicks. I know that I posted it last night. I said the boys responded, and they did. I said they got to step their game up, and they've stepped their game up and stepped their game up, I should say. And honestly, a lot of Knicks fans are probably like, "Oh, they won game one. They'll probably be okay with it. Let's lose game two." No, they weren't okay with that. Another huge comeback, and great job by the Knicks, and more content, of course, would be out about them. And if they make the finals, I do have a special treat. I will go live before every game because I know those games start at like 8:30. I want to say 8:45, something like that. So I will go live before all those games, but they have to make it. They have to really make it there, or and I will do that. Last bit of news we'll talk about here is the Mets. Of course, we're combining, like I said, the Mets and the Knicks, and a little bit of Rangers we talked about. No really Jets news going on. They're just doing like little workouts, and then the St. John's just laying low. They went crazy with the transfers. They're finally just laying low a little bit. But the Mets are 24-14. They went 3-3 on the road trip. Lost 2 out of 3 to Arizona, who they played about a week before or 2 weeks before, whatever that was, and then they won 2 out of 3 against Arizona, who they played the week before, and the Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3. So they split the season series with them, and they split the road trip at 3-3. They haven't played too great since I would say about the last 10 games. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games after they had a nice winning streak going. They definitely hit a little skid, I should say. It seems like the bullpen, once the bullpen took a hit, that the team kind of took a little bit of a hit. But now with an off day and then big stretch coming up at home, I know they got the Cubs for the weekend. The Cubs have been really good this year. They can hit. I can tell you that they hit the ball very, very well. But they got the Cubs for three, then the Pirates for three, and then that off day. So then they got then they get the Yankees, and that's going to be a very, very entertaining series. But I think that it's very, very big. Let's see that the Mets are still playing great. And listen, they're not going to win 6 or 7 in a row, lose one and win 7 in a row again. It's not going to happen throughout an entire season. So, especially with the injuries that could just happen like that. Injuries happen very quickly. I know Jesse Winker is now on the IL. He played the outfield for the first time on, I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday, first game of the doubleheader, and he destroyed his oblique, and he'll be out for at least 2 months. They're going to look for. I don't know if they're going to keep what they got. I know Beatty's back, but he played and he wasn't not impressive at all. Once again, I don't know what's up with him. He just doesn't have any success when he plays in a big league uniform, but he plays great in every other level. But I don't know if they're gonna do how long they're gonna go with that because Marte's not hitting either at DH. So he's hitting about 180 and he looks completely lost up there. And they put him in the 4 hole, which I know Mendy is trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's a veteran. He's been here. He's a very clubhouse oriented guy, a very big leader for this team. But if the performance isn't going to be there, I know David Stearns has done it before, but it's a different situation when he's one of your guys. It's tough. I understand that, but he can't. Even if you're going to play him, you got to bat him like eighth or something. He can't be batting higher in the lineup. It's just not going to work. I know Winker wasn't really playing the field anyway, but Nimmo's been banged up. So it seems like Nimmo's going to get a lot of the DH opportunity. That kind of weakens the lineup just a little bit. Not really though, because like I said, Marte isn't hitting, but McNeil has to go to the outfield, and then Acuna has to be in. I talked about this with CT a couple days ago. Got to find a spot for him. It seems like second base is a little more open now with Nimmo maybe sliding over to DH a little more. Taylor has been hitting, but I don't know if they want to put him in there every day, just because he's never been that. His role is more a couple 3 4 days, maybe 4 days a week play, and then that's good enough for him. He's not an everyday guy like I just said. And if McNeil can play in the outfield, that gets Acuna consistent reps at second. Vientos is struggling a little bit at third, so maybe he can DH. I think the DH spot definitely opened up a little bit because of Winker being injured, because really they didn't want to put Winker out in the outfield that much, and you saw what happened to him. I know you can't predict injuries, but you saw what happened when he actually had to play out there. He did get hurt. He was hitting a little bit. I got to say that. He was definitely hitting the ball a little bit. He wasn't able to obviously play now, but he was hitting the ball. It seemed like his bat was getting going a little bit, but now that DH spot, you can give Soto at bats. I know he DH'd game 2 with a doubleheader the other day. I could definitely see him get a few more DH opportunities, but it also depends on if Nimmo's available or not, because you don't want to have Nimmo um, out of the game because he doesn't look great in the outfield. It seems like something's bothering him and he's trying to pull through. But if something's bothering you now, I really wouldn't try to go through it. Because you have so much more left of the season that they don't want. You don't want that to backfire on you now. Like you don't want to be hurt and then get even more injured than what you were. So I think that if it's up to him, maybe give him an IL stint for 10 days. Just give him a rest, and then he comes back and he's able to play left field. Because when he's at his best, he plays a really good left field, and it seemed like he was going through something in Arizona. And then Azokar, he's all right. There's another guy you don't count on to play every day. I know that everyone's clamoring for Drew Gilbert to come up, but I don't know if they want to do that just yet. They probably don't think he's ready. I think he's almost there. I give it another maybe at the end of May. You bring him up, he should be good by then. Trying to see if I miss anybody in the outfield, but really it's pretty much the same guys. Alvarez being back, he's hitting. Torrens is catching great, so the catcher spot is good. Alonso and Lindor, of course, are still hitting. Um, Beatty's Beatty. But the one guy that is turning it around definitely in the month of May, hitting over 300, is Juan Soto. He had 2 home runs in his last game against Arizona. One was a moonshot to like right center, and then the one to left field just kind of flicked it over the fence, and it was a great opportunity to come away with a second home run. Seems like he's turning it around a little bit. Seems like he's getting the joy back a little bit. I know the weather is getting warmer, so it's great for the home games. He can feel a lot more comfortable and he mentioned how Mendoza makes him making him feel like he's right in place, and it's tough sometimes because this is a Mets team that pretty much has a majority of players back that they had last year, and now they added Soto. It may not seem as easy as people think. Oh, he's a great player; he'll fit right in. But sometimes those guys have connections that aren't as strong as, of course, someone that just showed up. So having Soto do that and say that out to the media was great. And he's playing good now. He's starting to play better. Outfield defense has been good for the most part. The bat seems like it's really starting to turn, and especially with this tough schedule. I know I said it. Cubs, Pirates aren't good, but they have good pitching, so that could give the Mets some trouble. They got the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, a lot of good teams. I think it was the might be the Dodgers twice or something like that. So there's a lot of good competition coming up for the Mets, and the best version of Soto is definitely what they need. And another thing they do need before I wrap this one up is a lefty bullpen arm. I know they brought up Genesis or whatever his name, Cabrera. He didn't look great, and now Minter and Danny Young are both going to be out for a long time. They really need a lefty arm. Brooks Raley's nowhere to be ready, so I said that last episode, but they need someone now if they could. I know Andrew Chafin is someone that's been projected to the Mets probably for the last 6 years at the trade deadline. He's in the minors, I think, right now, so maybe he can opt out of that, and the Mets can bring him in, similar to like a Jose Iglesias situation last year where he was on a minor league contract, but if the Mets didn't bring him up, he was allowed to leave. Chafin's on that same opportunity, and he's he's a good lefty, reliable veteran. I think with him being on the team, and then you have a Brooks Raley coming up who won't be counted on as much now since you have a better lefty. That could be a good recipe for success. But we'll see what happens with that. A very impactful, eventful episode 40 here with Rangers, Knicks, and Mets talk. New York teams, for the most part, are playing great right now. I know CT's Yankees. You talked about them. They've been playing pretty good. They beat the Padres 2 out of 3. Mets are looking to get a hot streak going. They've still been playing good, but looking to get a hot streak going. Knicks are taking over the city right now, up 2-0 in the series. 2 more games. They need a win before they will be in the Eastern Conference Finals at a potential rematch against Indiana, who took them out last year, and it seemed like there was a lot of beef going on. That'd be really fun to see. Rangers made a home run hire as a head coach. A lot of good going on. I just want to hope everyone goes out there, follow the YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, give it a follow, comment. I know TikTok has been very, uh, very busy with the comments getting back, especially my Shador video that I said last time that went kind of crazy. A lot going on. 2 reels will be out from this episode just because it was like kind of a jumbo episode. There'll be one about the Knicks, definitely one about the Mets. Mets is probably just overall they're playing. The Knicks are just proving me wrong, man. They're playing great. Good to see. And then next week we'll be back for episode 41. I have a little bit of a rundown. Maybe I can read it quick if I can pull it up. Um, yeah, so episode 41 will be the beginning of next week. Episode 42 will be later next week, so probably about the same thing. We'll see what happens. And then episode 43 will be the week after that, and that will be before the big announcement comes out. So we'll probably do the episode later in the week, have the announcement come out, and there's a lot of meetings that will happen. So we iron out everything, and then the week after that we'll have CT back, and then the week after that will be the debut, episode 45 with the new look show. That will be the new show going on, but we'll still have other things, of course, these episodes, these supplemental episodes, and that stuff. But episode 40 is over, and JD's out.